And some of you are slowly destroying your own life and calling it freedom. Yeah, that hurts, doesn't it? But let me ask you something. Steals your peace, weakens your mind, breaks your family, and controls your decisions. Is that really freedom, or is that slavery in disguise? Steve Harvey once reflected on something powerful. Why does Islam completely ban alcohol and drugs? At first it sounds strict, even extreme. But when you look deeper, it's not restriction, it's protection. Protection of your mind, protection of your health, protection of your dignity, protection of your future. Because the truth is, most people don't lose their lives overnight. They lose it slowly, sip by sip, choice by choice. Islam doesn't wait for destruction to happen. It stops it before it even begins. Think about it. How many families have been broken because of addiction? How many dreams have been buried under intoxication? How many people lost control and never got it back? Islam closes that door complete. Not because life is meant to be hard, but because you are meant to be strong. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is power. And Islam teaches a kind of discipline that frees you. Frees you from dependency, frees you from regret, frees you from becoming a slave to your desires. Steve Harvey realized something many people ignore. When your mind is clear, your decisions are better. When your soul is clean, your life becomes peaceful. When you control yourself, nothing else controls you. This is a blueprint for a better life. A life where you respect yourself. A life where you protect what matters. A life where you rise above weakness. So maybe the real question isn't, why does Islam ban these things? Maybe the real question is, why are we so comfortable with things that destroy us? Because real freedom is not doing whatever you want. Real freedom is becoming someone who doesn't need what harms them. And that is true power. Islam teaches that rules are not meant to make life difficult, but to make life safe, balanced, and meaningful. When it comes to the ban on alcohol and drugs, many people at first think it is something strict or limiting. They may feel that it takes away enjoyment or freedom. But when we look deeper, we begin to understand that this teaching is actually an act of care and protection for human beings. Human beings are not just physical bodies. We have minds that think, hearts that feel, and souls that seek peace and purpose. When something harms any of these parts, it slowly affects the whole life of a person. Alcohol and drugs may seem harmless at the beginning. Some people use them for fun, to relax, or to escape stress. But over time, these substances can take control. They weaken a person's ability to think clearly, make wise decisions, and stay in control of their actions. The mind is one of the greatest gifts a person has. It allows us to understand right from wrong, to make plans, and to grow in life. When a person consumes alcohol or drugs, the mind becomes clouded. Judgment becomes weak. A person may say or do things they would never do in a normal state. This can lead to regret, broken relationships, and even serious mistakes that change lives forever. Islam protects the mind by removing anything that can damage it. The body is also a trust that must be cared for. Alcohol and drugs harm the body in many ways. They can damage the liver, heart, and brain. They can weaken the immune system and reduce a person's energy and health. Over time, addiction can take hold, making it very difficult for a person to stop even when they want to. Islam teaches people to respect their bodies and avoid anything that brings harm. By staying away from these substances, a person protects their health and lives a stronger, more stable life. The soul is another important part of a human being. It needs peace, clarity, and connection with what is good and pure. When a person is under the influence of alcohol or drugs, they often feel empty after the effect wears off. What starts as a temporary escape can turn into a deeper feeling of sadness or confusion. Instead of finding real peace, a person may become more lost. Islam guides people toward a life where peace comes from awareness, self-control, and a strong connection with purpose, not from temporary intoxication. Another important aspect is how these substances affect families and society. Many problems in the world are connected to alcohol and drug abuse. Families are broken, trust is destroyed, and violence increases. Children may suffer because of the actions of adults who are not in control of themselves. Communities become weaker when people lose their sense of responsibility. Islam aims to build strong families and safe society. By removing the root causes of many problems, it creates an environment where people can live with respect and stability. It is also important to understand that Islam does not only focus on avoiding harm, but also on building strength. When a person chooses to stay away from alcohol and drugs, they are practicing discipline. They are showing that they are in control of their desires, not controlled by them. This builds confidence and self-respect. A person who has control over themselves is stronger than someone who gives in to every temptation. In today's world, many people struggle with stress, pressure, and emotional pain. Some turn to alcohol or drugs as a way to cope, but these are not real solutions. They only hide the problem for a short time and often make it worse. Islam encourages healthier ways of dealing with difficulties, such as patience, reflection, prayer, and seeking support from others. These methods may take more effort, but they lead to real and lasting peace. Freedom is often misunderstood. Many people think freedom means doing whatever they want without limits, but true freedom is being able to live without being controlled by harmful habits. A person who cannot function without alcohol or drugs is not truly free. They are dependent. Islam teaches a higher level of freedom, the freedom of a clear mind, a healthy body, and a peaceful soul. When we look at this teaching with an open mind, we begin to see its wisdom. It is not about taking something away, but about giving something greater in return. It gives safety, clarity, strength, and peace. It helps people avoid pain before it starts. It builds individuals who are aware, responsible, and in control of their lives. Prevention is always better than cure, and this idea is deeply rooted in the teachings of Islam. When it comes to alcohol and drugs, Islam does not simply warn people after the damage is done. Instead, it takes a powerful and wise approach by stopping the problem before it even has a chance to begin. In today's world, we often see how addiction starts in very small and seemingly harmless ways. A person might begin with curiosity, peer pressure, or the desire to escape stress. At first, it may feel like a choice, something under control. But slowly, that choice can turn into a habit, and that habit can turn into a dependency. Before a person even realizes it, they may find themselves trapped in something that is very difficult to escape. Islam understands human nature. It recognizes that once certain harmful behaviors begin, they can quickly grow beyond control. That is why it does not allow even the first step toward alcohol or drugs. By completely banning these substances, Islam closes the door to a path that often leads to destruction. This is not about limiting enjoyment or making life difficult. It is about protecting people from a chain reaction that can damage every part of their life. When a person avoids alcohol and drugs entirely, they protect their mind. The human mind is one of the greatest blessings. It allows us to think clearly, make good decisions, and understand right from wrong. Substances like alcohol and drugs weaken this ability. They cloud judgment, reduce self-control, and can lead people to make choices they would never make in a clear state of mind. By preventing the use of these substances, Islam ensures that the mind remains strong, aware, and in control. At the same time, this approach also protects physical health. Addiction often brings serious health problems, including damage to the brain, liver, heart, and other organs. Many people suffer for years because of habits that started casually. Some even lose their lives. Islam removes this risk completely by not allowing the habit to begin in the first place. It teaches people to value their bodies and to treat them with care and respect. Prevention also plays a major role in protecting families and relationships. Addiction does not only affect one person, it spreads pain to everyone around them. Families can break apart, trust can be lost, and emotional wounds can last for years. Children may grow up in unstable environments, and relationships can be destroyed by actions taken under the influence of substances. By stopping the root cause, Islam protects the peace and stability of the home. It creates an environment where trust, respect, and love can grow. Another important aspect is the protection of society as a whole. Many crimes, accidents, and acts of violence are connected to alcohol and drug use. When people lose control of their actions, the results can harm others as well. Roads become dangerous, communities become unsafe, and innocent lives can be affected. Islam's approach reduces these risks by removing the source of the problem. It promotes a society where people are more responsible, aware, and considerate of others. What makes this approach truly powerful is that it focuses on long-term well-being rather than short-term pleasure. In many cases, people are willing to take risks for temporary enjoyment without thinking about the consequences. Islam teaches a different mindset. It encourages people to think beyond the moment and to consider the bigger picture. It reminds them that true success and happiness come from making choices that protect their future, not just satisfy their present desires. This way of thinking builds strong character. Person who stays away from harmful substances develops discipline and self-control. These qualities are not only important for avoiding addiction, but they also help in every part of life. Whether it is achieving goals, maintaining relationships, or dealing with challenges, self-control is a key factor in success. By encouraging people to avoid harmful habits from the start, Islam helps them build a stronger, more stable personality. It is also important to understand that this prevention is not meant to feel like a burden. Instead, it is a form of care and guidance. Just like a loving parent keeps a child away from danger, these teachings are meant to guide people toward a safer and better life. Sometimes people may not immediately understand the wisdom behind certain rules, but with time and reflection, the benefits become clear. In the modern world, where addiction is a growing problem, this approach feels more relevant than ever. Many people are searching for ways to escape the cycle of addiction, but it is often very difficult once they are already involved. Islam offers a solution that avoids this struggle entirely. It teaches people to protect themselves from the very beginning, so they never have to face the pain of breaking free from addiction later. Addiction does not just affect one person. It spreads its damage quietly into homes, relationships, and entire communities. What may start as a small habit or a moment of escape can slowly grow into something that takes control of a person's life. And when a person loses control, the people around them begin to suffer too. In many families, addiction becomes the reason for constant stress and pain. A home that should be a place of peace turns into a place of worry. Children begin to feel unsafe even when they are surrounded by their own family. They may not understand what is happening, but they feel the tension, the anger, and the sadness. Instead of growing up with love and support, they grow up with confusion and fear. When a parent is struggling with addiction, they often become distant. They may stop paying attention to their children's needs. They might forget important moments, break promises, or fail to provide emotional support. Over time, this creates a gap between parent and child. The child may start to feel unimportant, unloved, or even blame themselves for the situation. These feelings can stay with them for many years and affect how they see themselves and others. Relationships between husband and wife also suffer deeply. Trust begins to break. Communication becomes weak or filled with arguments. Small problems turn into big conflicts because one person is no longer fully present or responsible. Love slowly turns into frustration, disappointment, and sometimes even anger. In many cases, addiction leads to separation or divorce, leaving families broken and hearts wounded. Financial problems are another serious result. Addiction often drains money in ways that are harmful and unnecessary. Instead of spending on food, education, or basic needs, money is wasted on substances that only cause harm. This creates pressure in the household. Bills remain unpaid, needs are not met, and stress continues to grow. The entire family feels the weight of these struggles. Dreams also begin to fade away. Every person has goals and hopes for the future, but addiction slowly pushes those dreams aside. A person who once had ambition and purpose may lose focus and direction. They may stop working hard, stop caring about their future, and give up on their potential. This not only affects them, but also disappoints the people who believed in them. Young people are especially affected when they grow up in such environments. They may lose motivation in school, struggle with their emotions, or even follow the same harmful path. Without guidance and stability, it becomes harder for them to build a positive future. The cycle of pain continues from one generation to the next. Emotional damage is often the deepest and longest lasting effect. People living around addiction experience sadness, anxiety, and sometimes even depression. They may feel helpless because they cannot change the situation. Watching someone they love destroy themselves can be extremely painful. It creates emotional wounds that are not always visible but are very real. Even the person struggling with addiction suffers greatly. They may feel guilt, shame, and regret, but still feel unable to stop. They may want to change but feel trapped. This inner struggle adds to their pain and makes recovery even more difficult. They begin to lose confidence in themselves and may feel isolated from the world. Society as a whole also feels the impact. When many individuals are affected, it leads to larger problems such as increased crime, reduced productivity, and weakened communities. Instead of people contributing positively, they become caught in cycles of harm. This slows down progress and creates a negative environment for everyone. What makes addiction even more dangerous is how slowly it works. It does not destroy everything at once. It takes small steps, slowly weakening a person's control, slowly breaking relationships, and slowly damaging lives. By the time the full impact is seen, a lot has already been lost. However, understanding this reality is important. When people realize how deeply addiction affects families and society, they can make better choices. They can choose to protect themselves and their loved ones. They can choose discipline, awareness, and a healthier path. A strong family is built on trust, love, and responsibility. When these values are protected, families grow stronger and happier. Children feel safe, relationships become deeper, and individuals are able to reach their true potential. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many people think it is about restriction, pressure, or forcing yourself to live a life without enjoyment. They see it as something uncomfortable, something that takes away freedom. But the truth is completely the opposite. Discipline is not there to break you. It is there to build you. It is not there to limit your life. It is there to protect it and make it stronger. Self-control is one of the most powerful abilities a human being can develop. It is a quiet strength that does not need to show off, yet it shapes every part of your life. When you have control over your actions, your emotions, and your desires, you are no longer being controlled by the world around you. You are no longer reacting blindly. You are choosing consciously. And that is where real power begins. Think about it for a moment. What usually destroys a person's life, it is rarely one big mistake. It is small, repeated decisions made without control. Saying yes when you should say no. Following temporary pleasure without thinking about long-term consequences. Acting on impulse instead of thinking with clarity. These small moments slowly take control, and before a person realizes it, they are no longer in charge of their own life. But discipline changes everything. It creates a pause between your desire and your action. In that pause, you gain awareness, you gain choice. And in that choice, you gain power. Self-control does not mean you stop enjoying life. It means you understand what truly benefits you and what harms you. It means you do not let temporary feelings decide permanent outcomes. It means you are strong enough to walk away from things that feel good in the moment but damage you in the long run. There is a deep kind of peace that comes with discipline. When your mind is not clouded by regret, when your body is not weakened by harmful habits, and when your decisions are guided by clarity instead of confusion, life becomes lighter. You start to feel in control. You start to trust yourself. And that trust is something no one can take away from you. Many people are chasing happiness, but they are looking for it in the wrong places. They look forward in things that give instant pleasure, but leave long-term damage. They think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But real freedom is not about doing everything. Real freedom is about not being controlled by anything. When you depend on something to feel okay, you are not free. When you cannot say no to your own desires, you are not in control. When your habits start deciding your life instead of your values, you slowly lose yourself. Discipline brings you back. It reminds you who you are and what truly matters. It is not always easy. There will be moments when your desires feel stronger than your will. There will be times when saying no feels uncomfortable. But every time you choose discipline over impulse, you become stronger. Every time you control yourself instead of giving in, you grow. It may not feel like a big victory in that moment, but over time, it builds a powerful character. Strong people are not those who never feel temptation. Strong people are those who feel it and still choose what is right. They understand that their future is more important than their present cravings. They understand that a few moments of control can save them from years of regret. Discipline also brings respect. When you respect yourself, your actions change. You no longer put yourself in situations that harm you. You no longer accept things that lower your value. You start making decisions that align with who you want to become, not who you are feeling like in a weak moment. This is how discipline becomes strength. Not loud strength that needs to prove itself, but silent strength that shows in your actions. Strength that keeps you steady when life tries to shake you. Strength that keeps you focused when distractions surround you. Strength that protects your mind, your body, and your soul. When your mind is clear, your decisions improve. When your habits are clean, your life becomes stable. When you control yourself, you build a life that is not easily broken. You are not easily influenced, not easily distracted, and not easily defeated. Over time, discipline shapes your identity. You are no longer someone who reacts without thinking. You become someone who leads your own life with awareness. You become someone who can be trusted, not only by others, but by yourself. And that is one of the greatest forms of power a person can have, to trust themselves. To know that no matter what situation they face, they will respond with control, not chaos. With wisdom, not impulse. With strength, not weakness. Life will always present choices. Some will be difficult. Some will promise quick happiness, while others will require patience. Discipline helps you see beyond the moment. It helps you choose what truly matters, even when it is hard. Real freedom is often misunderstood. Many people think freedom means doing whatever they want, whenever they want, without any limits. It looks attractive on the surface. No rules, no restrictions, just pure choice. But if we look deeper, we begin to realize that this idea of freedom can sometimes become a trap. When a person starts indulging in everything without control, they slowly begin to lose something very important: control over themselves. At first, it feels exciting. There is pleasure, enjoyment, and a sense of independence. But over time, these same habits can turn into needs, and those needs can turn into dependencies. And once a person becomes dependent, they are no longer truly free. Think about it carefully. If someone says, "I can't relax without this," or "I'll be unless I have that," is that freedom? Or is that a quiet form of slavery? Because real freedom means you are in control. Not your desires, not your habits, not any substance, and not any external thing. True freedom is not about having unlimited choices. It is about having the strength to choose what is right for you, even when it is difficult. It is about being able to say no to things that may harm you, even if they seem enjoyable for a moment. This kind of freedom requires awareness, discipline, and self-respect. Many people chase temporary pleasure without thinking about long-term consequences. They follow what feels good in the moment, ignoring how it might affect their health, their mind, their relationships, and their future. Slowly, without realizing it, they begin to lose balance in life. Their peace becomes unstable, their focus becomes weak, and their sense of purpose starts to fade. But a person who understands true freedom lives differently. They don't let every desire control them. They pause, they think, and they choose wisely. They understand that not everything that feels good is good for them, and not everything that is difficult is bad. In fact, sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that protect us the most. Freedom is deeply connected with self-control. When you can control your emotions, your actions, and your habits, you become powerful. You are no longer easily influenced by others or by your environment. You don't follow the crowd blindly. You make your own path based on understanding purpose. There is also a sense of peace that comes with this kind of freedom. When you are not dependent on harmful things, your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become stronger. You don't feel trapped or controlled. Instead, you feel stable, confident, in charge of your own life. On the other hand, dependency brings stress and weakness. It creates a cycle where a person feels they need something again and again just to feel normal. This is not freedom. This is a burden. It limits a person's growth and slowly takes away their inner strength. True freedom is quiet but powerful. It doesn't shout or show off. It reflects in a person's character, in their choices, and in the way they handle life. It is seen in someone who can walk away from harm, who can stand firm in difficult situations, and who can stay balanced even when life becomes challenging. It also builds self-respect. When you know that you are not controlled by anything harmful, you begin to value yourself more. You realize your worth. You understand that your mind, your body, and your life are important, and they deserve to be protected. So at the end of the day, the question is simple. Are you in control of your life, or are the things you rely on controlling you? Because real strength is not shown in how much you can consume, but in how much you can walk away from. Real power is not in giving in to every desire, but in rising above them. And real freedom is not doing everything you want. It is becoming someone who no longer needs what destroys them. So choose wisely, choose strength over weakness, choose clarity over confusion. Choose a life where you are the master of your decisions, not the victim of your habits. Because the moment you take control of yourself is the moment you truly become free.